Have you ever noticed how fast your emotions can shift? One moment you're calm and the next, something small, like a comment, a tone of voice, or even a look, sets something off inside you. You might feel anger rise like a wave, or maybe you shut down, go quiet and pull away. Sometimes it's not even clear what you're feeling, just a tight chest, a racing heart, or that sinking feeling that something's not right. These intense reactions can feel confusing or even embarrassing, especially when they seem bigger than the situation calls for. But these moments aren't random. They're called emotional triggers, strong reactions that often come from deeper wounds or past experiences. Over time, our brains learn to associate certain situations with danger, rejection, shame, or hurt. Even if the present moment isn't truly threatening, our beliefs, personalities, and life experiences all shape how we respond. And when we don't understand these triggers, they can take control, hurting our relationships, clouding our thinking, and keeping us stuck in the same emotional cycles. Here's the truth. You're not overreacting, and you're not broken. Your reactions make sense once you understand where they're coming from. And the good news is, you can learn to change the way you respond. Instead of being pushed around by your emotions, you can turn these triggering moments into opportunities for self-awareness, healing, and growth. In this guide, we'll look at emotional triggers through 6 powerful lenses: neuroscience, psychology, personal growth, personality types, Stoic wisdom, and symbolic astrology. Each of these perspectives will help you better understand why you feel what you feel and how to gain control over your emotional world in a way that's both kind and powerful. Because the goal isn't to never feel triggered. The real goal is to understand yourself so well that you respond with clarity and strength, even in the middle of the fire. 1. Psychology. Emotional echoes from the past. Most of the time, when you feel emotionally triggered, it's not really about what's happening right now. It's about something deeper, something from your past that hasn't fully healed. Emotional triggers often come from past experiences where your needs weren't met, or where you felt hurt, unsafe, or unloved. Over time, your mind creates beliefs to protect you, like, "I'm not good enough," or "people always leave." These beliefs become part of how you see the world, even if you're not fully aware of them. Psychologist John Bowlby, who created attachment theory, explained how our early relationships, especially with parents or caregivers, shape how we feel about connection and safety. For example, if you grew up with inconsistent love or emotional distance, you might feel overly anxious when someone pulls away or ignores you. Even a simple tone of voice or a moment of silence can bring up deep feelings like rejection or shame, not because of what the person just did, but because of what it reminds you of emotionally. Our brains also tend to twist situations through mental filters called cognitive distortions. These include things like personalization, thinking everything is your fault, catastrophizing, expecting the worst, or mind reading, assuming you know what others are thinking, usually something negative. These thought patterns turn small problems into major emotional storms. Often it's not the situation that hurts us most, it's the story we tell ourselves about what it means. As trauma expert Dr. Bessel van der Kolk says, the body keeps the score. That means our emotional pain doesn't just stay in our minds, it lives in our nervous system. We carry it in our posture, our reactions, even in how we breathe. That's why some people get triggered without knowing why. They're responding to a feeling that's stored deep inside. To grow past these triggers, we must first understand them. Be curious about your reactions instead of judging yourself. Every emotional response is like a clue, pointing you towards something inside that needs attention, healing, or care. The more you explore your patterns with kindness and honesty, the more power you gain to break free from them. But understanding the emotional roots is only part of the picture. Let's now look at what your brain is doing in the heat of the moment. 2. Neuroscience, the brain's alarm system. When something small causes you to feel a big emotion, like suddenly getting angry, panicking, or shutting down, it might feel like you're overreacting. But actually, your brain is doing exactly what it's designed to do: protect you. Deep inside your brain is a part called the amygdala, which acts like a built-in alarm system. Its job is to detect threats and help you survive. The problem is, it can't always tell the difference between real danger and emotional discomfort. So if someone criticizes you, ignores you, or brings up a painful memory, your brain might treat it like a serious threat. When that happens, the amygdala takes over and sends signals to your body to react quickly, raising your heart rate, tensing your muscles, and flooding your system with stress hormones like adrenaline and cortisol. This response shuts down the rational part of your brain, called the prefrontal cortex, the part that helps you think clearly, stay calm, and make smart choices. That's why you might yell, freeze, or say something you later regret. You're in what scientists call an amygdala hijack. During this time, your brain's default mode network may also turn on, causing your mind to start looping through negative thoughts, assumptions, or memories from the past. So even though something in the present triggered you, your emotional response is often connected to old pain or experiences stored in your brain's memory center, the hippocampus. The key to mastering these moments is building the ability to pause. Even just a few seconds of awareness can give your brain time to shift control back to the prefrontal cortex, where logic, patience, and compassion live. That tiny pause is powerful. It's the difference between reacting out of habit and responding with intention. And every time you create that space, your brain learns a new, healthier pattern. Once you know how your brain reacts, it's also helpful to understand how your unique personality shapes your response to emotional triggers. 3. Personality traits, different triggers, different reactions. Each person reacts to emotional triggers in their own way, and a big part of that depends on their personality. Some people are naturally more sensitive to stress or criticism. For example, people who score high in neuroticism, one of the big 5 personality traits, often feel emotions more strongly. A small comment or misunderstanding can feel much bigger to them than it might to others. On the other hand, people who are very agreeable, kind, gentle, and focused on keeping the peace might hide their anger to avoid conflict. But if they keep it bottled up too long, they may suddenly explode when they've had enough. Your level of introversion or extroversion also plays a role. Introverts, who usually need quiet and space to recharge, may feel overwhelmed or irritated in loud, busy environments, or if they feel like they're being ignored. Extroverts, who thrive on connection, might feel triggered by being left out or not being heard in a group. In the MBTI personality system, people who lead with thinking, like INTJs or ISTPs, may get frustrated when things don't make logical sense, or when decisions are based purely on emotion. On the other hand, those with a feeling preference, like ENFPs or ISFJs, are more likely to feel hurt when others seem cold, harsh, or uncaring. Understanding your personality doesn't mean putting yourself in a box. It means becoming more aware of your natural tendencies, so you can manage them with kindness and intention. You're not being too sensitive or too intense. You're simply reacting in a way that makes sense for how you're wired. The key is learning how to work with your nature, not against it. When you know what tends to trigger you, you can prepare, pause, and choose how to respond, instead of letting the moment control you. That's how self-awareness becomes self-mastery. And beyond personality, there's another way to explore your emotional patterns, a symbolic mirror that can reveal deeper themes within you.
Symbolic astrology, the celestial mirror of reaction. Astrology, when used as a symbolic tool, not a rule book, can help us look at ourselves in a new and thoughtful way. It doesn't predict your future or control your actions, but it can act like a mirror, showing you patterns in your emotional life that you might not have noticed before. For example, someone with a Cancer moon often has a very sensitive emotional core. They may seem calm on the outside, but feel deeply hurt if they sense rejection or emotional distance. Their strong need for emotional safety can lead to intense reactions when they feel ignored or unimportant. Someone with Mars in Aries might react quickly when triggered. They explode fast, but also calm down quickly. Their emotions are fiery but short-lived. In contrast, a person with Mars in Scorpio may hold their emotions inside for a long time, building intensity quietly. When pushed too far, their reactions may be powerful and deeply emotional, often tied to trust or betrayal. A person with Saturn in the 4th house may have grown up in an environment where expressing emotions felt unsafe or unwanted. As adults, they might struggle to show how they feel, or they may bottle things up until they suddenly burst. This placement can also lead to wisdom and emotional maturity later in life, especially if the person works through those early struggles. Someone with Leo rising might feel upset when they don't feel seen or appreciated, because their sense of identity is closely tied to how they are perceived by others. Meanwhile, a Virgo Mercury, which influences how a person thinks and communicates, may overanalyze their words and replay conversations in their head, often worrying about what they said or didn't say, which can create inner stress and emotional tension. Astrology doesn't tell you who you are. It offers a language for reflection. Think of your birth chart like a mirror. It won't fix your problems, but it might help you notice where your triggers come from, or why certain situations affect you so deeply. Used with self-awareness and humility, astrology can be a gentle guide that helps you understand yourself more clearly and compassionately. While astrology helps you reflect, ancient Stoic wisdom teaches you how to rise above emotional storms with strength and clarity. 5. Stoicism, holding the inner fortress. The ancient Stoic philosophers like Epictetus, Seneca, and Marcus Aurelius understood something that modern science is only now confirming. We can't always control what happens around us, but we can learn to control how we respond. One of Epictetus's most famous teachings is, "It's not the things themselves that disturb us, but our opinions about them." This means that it's not the situation itself that causes us pain, it's the meaning we give to it. For example, if someone ignores you, you might feel hurt, not because of the silence itself, but because you believe it means you're not important. Marcus Aurelius, a Roman emperor and one of the greatest Stoic writers, often reminded himself to stay calm in the face of difficulty. He wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This is what Stoicism teaches, that true strength comes from within. You don't need to control the world, you only need to master your own mind and emotions. Living with a Stoic mindset doesn't mean you shut down your feelings or pretend things don't bother you. It means you create an inner space, a kind of mental fortress, where you can stay grounded, even when life gets hard. When something triggers you, instead of reacting instantly, ask yourself, is this something I can control? If the answer is no, then ask, what kind of person do I want to be in this moment? Stoics believed in living with virtues like patience, courage, honesty, and self-control. When we approach our emotions this way, we stop letting anger, fear, or shame take over. We don't ignore them, but we don't let them rule us either. Instead, we respond with wisdom, not just impulse. Over time, this practice helps us become calmer, stronger, and more in control. Not because life is easier, but because we are clearer. But philosophy is only powerful when it meets practice. So let's now explore how you can apply all of this in your daily life to create real change. 6. Personal growth. From reaction to response. The first step to mastering emotional triggers is to become more aware of them. Instead of seeing your outbursts, shutdowns, or strong reactions as something bad or shameful, try to see them as messages from within. Your emotions are trying to tell you something, maybe that you feel unsafe, unheard, or not valued. These are not signs of weakness. They are signs that something inside you needs attention, care, or healing. A great way to begin this process is by asking yourself a few gentle questions after a triggering moment. What emotion did I feel? What story was I telling myself about what happened? Did this feeling remind me of something from my past? Writing these thoughts down in a journal can help you turn confusion into clarity. The more you reflect, the more you understand your patterns, and with understanding comes the power to change. One useful tool is called naming it to tame it, a phrase used by psychiatrist Dr. Dan Siegel. It means that when you simply name what you're feeling, like saying, "I'm feeling angry" or "I feel hurt," it helps calm the emotional part of your brain and brings your thinking mind back online. This helps you stay grounded instead of getting carried away by the emotion. Other helpful practices include deep breathing, walking barefoot on grass, holding something cold, or simply pausing and counting to 10. These small actions tell your nervous system that you are safe and in control. Over time, doing these things regularly helps your brain build new habits, ones that keep you calm, present, and thoughtful. You can also make it a habit to check in with yourself at the end of each day. Ask, when did I feel the most emotionally charged today? And what did I learn from it? This simple daily reflection can help you turn emotional triggers into valuable lessons, because real growth doesn't happen when life is easy. It happens when you choose to respond differently, even in the heat of the moment. Because when you bring awareness, wisdom, and action together, emotional mastery becomes not just possible, but deeply personal.
7. From reactivity to mastery. Learning to manage your emotional triggers is not about being perfect or never feeling upset again. It's about becoming more aware. It's about noticing the emotional storm before it takes over and learning how to respond instead of just reacting. Whether it's your brain sounding the alarm, your past experiences shaping your feelings, or your unique personality and inner beliefs at play, every part of you is doing its best to protect you. Your emotions aren't enemies, they're signals asking to be seen, heard, and understood. Emotional mastery doesn't mean you'll never feel triggered. It means you'll no longer be controlled by those triggers. You'll learn to pause, to take a breath, to ask yourself, what's really going on here? And from that place of calm awareness, you'll be able to choose how to respond, rather than letting old patterns choose for you. So the next time you feel yourself getting overwhelmed, angry, or shut down, don't judge yourself. Instead, see it as a chance to understand yourself more deeply. That's how real growth begins, not by avoiding your emotions, but by learning how to walk through them with strength, compassion, and clarity. If you found this content helpful and want more insights on how to grow through the power of neuroscience, psychology, philosophy, and self-awareness, feel free to like the video and subscribe to the channel. This space is all about helping you understand your inner world so you can transform it. Your growth journey is just beginning, and you don't have to do it alone.